Tales by Tabletop is a story adapted from sessions of Dungeons & Dragons. It follows the saga of a trio of adventurers, Laeran, Rosjen, and Tim.
Welcome, dear listeners, to the 10th chapter of our story. The party moves to leave the hut. Laeran folds and tucks the key drawing away in a pocket. As the heroes debate on whether or not to begin exploring the murky water in the trapdoor, Rosjen and Tim hear something floating in the air. Music. Tim whips his head around, trying to find the source of the sound.
Did you hear that?
Music! Yes! It's coming from over there, down the bridge!
My party sense is tingling. Laeran, I think we found the Fae Court.
Let's do this! I want to party with the Fae!
I do too. I hope they let us in, though. Fae bouncers can suck.
Are you two okay? We just left a room with 3 hags turned into salt. How can you be thinking of a party now?
Rosjen jumps over the balcony to the ground, trotting off to the boardwalk.
Little one, wait up!
Come on, there's a party!
The bridge is wide enough for a person to cross comfortably, and is about a foot or two above the marsh. Rosjen is almost skipping as she eagerly leads the way. Vicnys is close behind her, a more concerned look on his face, followed by Tim, then Laeran bringing up the rear.
I think the music's getting louder.
Last, the only thing I hear is that popping noise coming from those jumping lights over there.
I've noticed them too, Laeran. I'm keeping my eyes on it.
Suddenly, and with a pop and a bit of flame, a small winged creature appears hovering above the bridge a few dozen feet from Rosjen.
Is that a firework pixie?
Hey, pixies, over here.
The winged creature disappears in a pop and reappears immediately in front of Tim.
Oh. Ah! This isn't a pixie.
He's taken aback, as it does not look like any pixie he's seen. It has a thin, elongated body with 2 golden, bulbous eyes on its head and what looks like pincers at its tail. The wings are pale orange with red veins that look like autumn leaves. Tim tries to swat it out of his face. It disappears in a pop again, leaving behind a bit of flame.
Whoa!
Vicnys turns around, a puzzled look on his face.
Wait, do you hear that?
Dozens of the same winged creatures come buzzing from underneath the bridge, swarming the party.
Run! I think I can chase them away.
For the kitchen, take the tailpiece washer and flare the end of the tailpiece, then attach the tailpiece by screwing the slip knot onto the silk strainer.
The swarm reacts to Tim's words. It begins to disappear, each creature leaving behind a small residual burst of flame.
Ah! It burns! Ow!
It burns! Curse it!
The resulting combination engulfs the 4 adventurers. The swarm reappears further ahead on the boardwalk. Vicnys charges ahead, banging his sword on his shield.
These scales don't burn that easily, you irritating firebugs. Try some flame yourself.
Go Vicnys!
Vicnys takes a deep breath, his chest expanding. A glow forms in the back of his throat, and he exhales a burst of flame into the massed, insect-like creatures. They fly around the fire, then swarm around the dragon boy. He crouches, hiding his face behind his shield.
Oh no, Vicnys! Don't carry him away, you bugs!
Rosjen runs forward, jumping into the swarm. She swats at them with her quarterstaff, knocking several of them into the murky water. Laeran follows swiftly behind, holding his mace aloft.
Kellenvor would not have us felled by this pestilence.
A pale light again erupts at the feet of his companions. Tim strums on his guitar, and a glittering ball forms outside the swarm, exploding.
What?
But none of it sticks to the insects. He notices the strange crystal wrapped up in his pocket vibrate slightly when he casts the spell. Vicnys stands and swings his sword around in the swarm. It disappears again, leaving behind a flare that swallows Rosjen and Vicnys. It instantly pops back, engulfing both Laeran and Tim. Rosjen runs back to help her friends. She is able to take a few more out of the swarm. A deafening buzz rattles Laeran, and he grabs his head. His concentration on the blessing falls away. Tim withstands the scream-like buzzing enough to cast more magic through his guitar.
For the battle, he secretly started and may reach the key trap without additional parts. If not, add a tailpiece to make it a distance, cutting it with a near length.
The chord he strikes resonates with the buzz, and the swarm explodes, the rest falling into the swamp. A moment after the buzzing dies down, Laeran opens his eyes and looks around, taking his hands off his head.
Is it over? Ow! I don't like them. They hurt.
A splashing sound can be heard under the bridge beneath Laeran and Tim. Vicnys immediately rushes over and jumps into the water.
Ah, it appears we disturbed a nest of these things.
Agitated and red-faced, Laeran jumps off, takes out a dagger, and begins slicing through the remains of the nest.
Hang on, Laeran. I kind of want one. It'd be cool to have one of these guys.
Too bad. Chop chop.
As Laeran continues to cut down the remains of the nest, Vicnys rubs his wounds, leaving them healed. The rest take a moment to recover, bandaging their wounds and putting ointment on their burns. Throughout their rest, they clean the bug remains from their equipment. Rosjen cleans them from her quarterstaff, Tim empties them from his guitar, and Laeran and Vicnys pick them from their shields and armor. Tim takes one of the more intact insects and pulls one of its tendons to make it move.
Hey there, Laeran. What's going on, buddy?
You know necromancy starts with such innocent things. What if I brought my pet puppy back? This is not far from that, my friend.
We can bring back Squiggles?
No, not unless you want a mace in the face, pal.
Yeah, you should leave that here.
You guys are no fun.
No, Tim. I find this very disturbing. Rest for the dead, solace for the living. That's all I'm asking.
But I was just a bug.
Put it to rest, Tim.
Okay, fine.
Okay, everybody, let's keep moving. We caught our breath. No more sitting on your butts.
The adventurers gather themselves and continue crossing the bridge. A little more than half an hour passes before they see a change in their surroundings. The bridge ends on solid ground directly in front of a deep emerald-colored hedge wall. On the path before them is the only opening in the wall, through which a myriad of lights and sounds emanate. The closer they get, the more pronounced the sounds of a fabulous party become. Rosjen marvels at the resplendent colors floating in and above the garden. She glances back to the swamplands that border the dense thicket. It makes the party seem so much more enchanting when she considered the dreariness outside the boundaries.
This place refuses to be drab and dreary. Seeing it stand out like this makes me feel just so happy.
The companions reach the entrance. 4 stoic guards dressed in green plate mail stand watch in front of it. The guards appear elvish. On one arm, they hold an elongated shield, and in the other, a polearm with a single-edged purple blade. Vicnys steps ahead and turns to look to his friends.
You have helped me get here, but this is where I need to take the lead. Lady Brevery tasked me with this duty, and I must be able to truthfully say that it was I who delivered the invitation.
We are your friends, and we will help how we can.
Vicnys smiles, removes his cloak, and hands it to Laeran. He turns to approach the guards, his armor gleaming in the light cast by the party. He bows deeply in front of them.
I am Vicnys Siadore, and I have come at the request of Lady Brevery of Brevery Hall to personally deliver an invitation to the monarch. May my friends and I enter so that I may present it.
Oui, hello Vicnys. You and your friends are expected. Follow me.
If Vicnys is surprised by this, he does not show it. The knight places her polearm and shield on her back and removes her helmet, revealing a mass of wavy dark hair behind 2 large and pointed ears.
Thank you.
Laeran, Rosjen, and Tim trail behind Vicnys and the Emerald Knight on the path into the garden.
A little tip. Names here have power, and I can't quite decide if giving yours so freely was either very brave or very foolish. But then, a brave act would suit a name like yours.
She smiles at him, and her dark brown eyes twinkle as they pass under a yellow globe of light. The large room is surrounded on all sides by a dense hedge wall almost 20 feet high, with a ceiling thick with intertwining tree branches. The floor is made of wide marble surrounding a chessboard pattern in the center of the room. Copious amounts of color-changing moss are hanging from the walls and ceiling. Floating glass orbs glow and bob gently above the mass of guests.
Tim, look at the lights. They have pixies dancing in them.
I know. I hear the music, but I don't see the band. What is this anyway? I've never heard anything like it.
Those would be gadgets of Ada Reed's design. She's over there, to the left.
Tim looks on, mouth agape, at a wide podium. Several strange musical instruments sit upright, drumming and plucking themselves with their own mechanical arms. Standing next to the podium is an unusually long-legged woman. She's wearing white fishnets under a black leotard and a tight gold vest covered with blue, red, and white pom-poms. A very large ruff is worn around her neck, accenting her magenta and cerulean-tinted hair.
Oh my gosh! Look at that! Look at this! Laeran! Are all the goodly folk courts like this? This is amazing!
This isn't any kind of fey court I'm familiar with.
I don't know. They all seem to be represented here. Satyrs, sprites, pixies, gallstigs. The Bucaline are even over there. You can see their little pointed red hats grouped up close to the bar. This all checks out to me.
Laeran goes to speak to Vicnys, preparing to ask if he can sense any evil, but the paladin is engrossed in a conversation with the Emerald Knight, who is leading them through the maze of people. Laeran's introversion gets the best of him, and he withdraws, absent-mindedly reaching for where his holy symbol used to be. He takes a deep breath and keeps his gaze forward, making an effort not to make eye contact with anyone in the room. Rosjen, on the other hand, is entranced by the spectacle surrounding her, the most fascinating being two naked women entirely covered from their hair to their toes in what looks like paint. The paint shifts in hues of blues, greens, reds, and yellows over their bodies, and pools at their feet.
Un moment, s'il vous plaît. I will speak with the monarch.
The guard nods to Vicnys and walks away toward the two painted women.
So, what do we do now?
I don't know. Do you think one of those ladies is the monarch?
No. I think that one is.
Oh.
Oh.
Between the paint-covered figures appears to be a young child. They are wearing a blue formal jacket underneath a very paint-splattered apron tied back by a large bow. Clear crystal shards and purple orchids orbit around their head like a crown. The Emerald Knight waits for a moment, then she and the child begin speaking to each other, motioning toward the adventurers.
I hope we don't have to wait long. I'm eager to see what they have at the bar.
I like this music. We never had anything like this in the monasteries.
Is that all you two ever... If you'll excuse me, I'd like to find a seat while we wait.
Laeran gives a curt nod, then turns on his heel, quickly finding a bench against the wall.
I haven't seen him like this in a long time.
Suddenly, from the mass of people next to Rosjen, Tim, and Vicnys, a short woman appears hovering off the ground. She has short wine-colored hair, large eyes, and several ornate earrings hanging from her leaf-shaped ears. She reaches out her hand to Rosjen.
Hi, I saw you coming from across the room. Who are you?
Rosjen remembers the last time a creature from the Feywild asked for her name.
My name? My name is Roz. What's your name?
My name is Pilfer. It's very nice to meet you. My brother Pox is over there, next to the woman in glasses.
The woman points to another of the Fey folk that looks exactly like her, except his lips aren't as pink, and he has a much more suspecting look on his face.
So, what are you doing here? Antigone said you'd be here, but we didn't know what for.
Who's that?
Antigone Wynn. That's him leaning against the bar. He's done really well, especially for being so young.
Pilfer nods to a very flashy-looking character. Beautiful and toned, he wears very tight-fitting pants and half a tunic underneath a long pink jacket studded with gold and lined with green and white scales. Dozens of large feathers jut from one of the shoulders on the jacket.
There's more smug on that guy's face than scales on a dragon.
Between you and me, I don't think he's very good at his job.
I didn't know I was expected.
Oh, you weren't expected specifically. We were just told that you would be here.
Oh, okay. I was just helping a friend.
Do you want to dance?
Yes!
Pilfer grabs Rosjen by the hand and leads her to the center area with the chessboard pattern on the floor.
Well, that's another party member down.
Welcome back, Aphie.
Aphie?
What did the monarch have to say?
The monarch would like to speak with you directly, Vicnys, if you'll come with me.
She puts her arm through Vicnys's and turns to address Tim.
And you, Bard, you are free to enjoy the rest of the festivities.
With that, the Emerald Knight turns Vicnys around and leads him to the paint-splattered child.
And then there was one. Well, when in doubt, head to the bar.
Tim makes his way across the room, past a group of short men and women with goat legs to the bar.
Can I get a dandelion wine? Good, thanks. Hello. You're Antigone, right? My name's Tim.
I know.
Cool. Do you know what I'm about to ask you?
I don't have to. I have already proven my ability to those who matter.
Fine then, if you don't want to talk.
I did not say that. You may ask me whatever questions you would like answered.
So what role do you play in the court? I know a fair bit about human politics and their lordly courts, but I rip those idiots off constantly. I'm trying to avoid that here. Now, I'm just curious. I want to learn more.
I am the court seer, and it is doubtful a sick dullard like yourself could ever learn something from us, let alone handle a drink.
Don't underestimate those of us from the material plane. We can be pretty fun.
Perhaps, but not as fun as I can be.
I'm sure. So what kind of fun is there to be had?
For mortals, the kind of fun that leaves you dancing, unable to stop until the sun fades. And it never fades here.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm that fun. So, on the way over here, we ran into some...
Oh, shit. She is coming over here. Be cool.
Panic washes over Antigone's face as he turns around. Without skipping a beat, Tim leans against the bar, drink in hand, giving off the suavest face his bard training can produce. However, he is met with the cold face of a woman wearing very large glasses hiding a pair of thin, narrow eyes. Pale-skinned with long, pointed ears, she is garbed in hues of purple from furs to feathers. She purposefully imposes herself in Tim's personal space.
What are you all doing here?
Honestly, I thought it would be a fun trip. Plus, it would help out my friend Vicnys.
Oh, Vicnys, is it?
The woman takes out a pen and tome with many different bookmarks sticking from various places and opens to a specific page.
It comes to this, depending on matters when the court can't even have a proper seer, who cannot even gain the simplest information. What is their full name?
I don't know.
Liar!
Alright, yes, I did lie. Our job was to come here and protect him as best we could, and giving his name to someone
How
like...
can such an easily intimidated matter ever expect to be a protector?
Hey, I'm argumentative by nature. And also a little rude. Sorry, Bimmy and Trista.
Frustrated, she slams her tome closed and takes out a wooden wand. Bound to the tip is an iridescent crystal shard. She raises it to Tim's head and slowly lowers it, stopping at his hips, and the crystal begins to light up. She glares at Tim.
You should not have that. Why did you bring that into our court? How did you know about this, Antigone?
I know a great many things, Myriati, and I only tell my visions to those of importance.
Don't you start with me, you myopic dazzlefly.
Tim takes the crystal shard out of his pocket.
Here, take it. I don't even know what it does. You can...
Give me that!
The woman snatches the shard wrapped in cloth out of his hands and stows it away amongst all the ruffles on her person.
The monarch does not like the living light brought into the court.
My deepest apologies. I don't want to upset the court.
Pathetic, but a wise decision.
I'll take it.
Don't you have a cauldron full of infants to check on, Myriati?
Watch your tongue, child. So why are you? Why is he here?
Vicnys? He was ordered by his superior back on our plane to extend an invitation to the gala.
The group looks over at the monarch, who is still speaking with Vicnys. They have a thin paintbrush out drawing an image of the town of Brevery in the air, the guard still holding on to his arm.
That shard. It's not from around here, is it?
No. It is not. I have some theories about the living light, but I need more research before I can come up with something conclusive.
It certainly isn't friendly, or at least the things it created to attack us weren't.
Oh. You were attacked? Maybe you are more useful than you look.
The woman takes out a scroll and begins writing.
These crystal skeleton things, they were filled with this...
Yes, skeletons. We are familiar with their blight.
It was over by this hag's hut. 3 of them, all turned to salt.
Interesting. I'm unfamiliar with any hags in the area, and I haven't heard of any salt being a side effect of the living light. I cannot say if the two are related. It is strange.
Strange is as strange does.
Indeed. It would be a good idea to stay away from it.
The woman continues to jot notes down.
Well, this has been a pleasure speaking with you again. Maybe next time there's a gathering, you can get your outfit advice from a talking pumpkin instead of an eggplant. Excuse us.
The woman glares over the top of her scroll as Antigone grabs Tim by the elbow and leads him away from the bar.
What a terrifyingly dull woman.
So what's her deal? You've got a pretty common amount of Fae disdain for mortals. Hers seems exceptional.
That's Dr. Myriati, the code researcher. She demands order and clarity, so she is always on edge. She hates me because that bitch does not comprehend my greatness. I can see things that she cannot understand with all of her science.
With our heroes mixing and mingling with members of the Fae Court, where will their story continue? Join us next time for another chapter.
Tales by Tabletop is a series supported by a dedicated team. They make this project happen and infinitely more fun. Laeran is played by Jim Cook and voiced by Jay DeGraff. Rosjen is played by Misty Harper and voiced by Jazlyn Pintar. Tim is voiced and played by Phil Boelche. Your narrator is David Nellor. Guest voice acting provided by Anna Gabay and Sarah Matos. Story coordinators are Mike Becker, Chris Hultin, and Zac McAuley. Sound effects provided by freesound.org and music provided by tabletopaudio.com. The theme for Tales by Tabletop was created by David Vass. This show is edited and directed by Zac McAuley, Travis Nellor, and is produced by Michael Blackard.